I feel paralyzed.
Hey guys, alright, so this is part 3. I decided I'll do some arenas, just twos with a random dude, which is now, and I'll do some duels and BGs in the next video. So these arenas are relatively short, they're all maybe a couple minutes long, longest one might be like 3.5 minutes. There's not really much to say about it. Before we get into it, I just wanted to say that I'm sorry if my UI is freaky to you, because to me it's really normal, but a lot of people don't care for my UI, so I'm not really going to spend any time telling you what keybinds and stuff you might want, because my anti-magic shell is Alt-E. I mean, my trinket is Shift-2 and my desecrated ground is Shift-Space. Like, they really only make sense to me, it seems like, which is totally cool. It works for me, but just kind of a heads up. So these might be kind of fast, like I said. I'm sorry if I rush into some explanations if they're too quick, but I'm trying to keep up with the video. So if you guys have any questions, always feel free to send me messages, and I guess that's good for now, so let's get into this. Alright guys, so just to start, you're going to kind of want to have an idea of who you're going to attack before you go out there. When the game begins, it's a nice thing to figure out who you're attacking. I try to D&D here, I really can't. I get sapped, I can see the chamois, I know exactly what they're doing. They're going to jump down there. As soon as this sap's over, I'm going to jump down there. Sorry, I break out this Hex with Desecrated. I'm going to just stun that chamois, pop my cooldowns because he's under geared, and I'm just going to go for him. You'll notice I Blood Boil to try and get some dots on the rogue. As soon as he Ascensions, you're going to have to AMS. It mitigates most of that damage. Same thing with Shadow Blades from a rogue. Just go out there, apply the Soul Reaper quickly, especially because he's under geared, he'll be in kill range extremely fast. This rogue is pretty much a joke. It's 2v1. 1v1 any conversion spec blood presence camping DK is probably going to win. Doesn't really matter how good the rogue is, so just keep pressure up. You don't want him to stealth. He can't cloak out of your Soul Reaper. Piece of cake. So the next game, it's Warrior Mage. I decided to go on the Warrior, and I go with the I'm thinking about putting the trinket on. I end up going with IBF of Regenerative Magic because Regenerative is really nice to have up IBF, so you pretty much never get stunned. He happens to be under geared again, so I just kind of run out there. You'll notice I kind of figure where the mage is, so I D&D right there before I go down on the warrior. I stun the warrior, I put my cooldowns up, and I just start bursting because my trinket's already procced. Because he's under geared again, just apply that Soul Reaper early. I AMS right here because I got rooted. I just didn't want to get stunned or anything. I know that this warrior is going to go down really quickly, so as soon as the warrior's down, you go on the mage. Against the mage, you need to keep your dots up, Soul Reap early. His alter time's there, so I just kind of stuck around there. He actually ends up quitting. Alright, so in this one, we decide we're going to go against the Enhancement Chamois, but as a DK, you have to know your plans can change. The Hunter's right here. I'm going to just have to go for the Hunter. Pop your cooldowns. I like to spread dots to all of his pets and the Chamois. Pop your cooldowns, just kind of go on him. You're going to notice we split damage here. It wasn't really planned on, but that's what ended up happening. So on a Hunter, you need to keep them as close as you can, stun them when they're about to get powerful hits off. You're going to have to AMS here as soon as you see that Ascension coming out. He Stormlashed me already, you saw that. Spam your conversion macro if you have to. Just keep yourself alive. Save your death grip as long as you can. I saved it right there till literally just the bitter end. I apply that Soul Reaper. He runs around there and he's gonna die. So next game, druids cannot dispel your diseases. So a bad druid is your bread and butter, just like a chamois. I glyph regenerative magic here, and I actually put on my release trinket because the cyclone, poly, I mean, there's a lot of things you're going to want to get out of, even a root if you really have to. So you'll notice here, you have to D&D really strategically sometimes. These guys aren't very good in most of these videos, but it's still great practice. You'll see that mage about to invis. You see him invis running out of there. Get that mage out. I'm going to actually get the druid out right here by luck, but you notice it's really nice. So Druid gets rooted. You need to apply your dots as fast as you can. Blood Boil Hill to spread those dots. On a Druid, just keep them on you. You have to keep them as close as possible. AMS here to make sure you're not getting bursted on. At this point, it's your job just to stay right next to that Druid and make sure he dies because your mage is in trouble and you're not going to have any problem 1v1ing that mage. I Desecrate here to make sure I don't get caught by that Ring of Frost. I silence with my Blood Elf Silence, really nice. IBF out of that because there's no reason for you to take extra damage. And again, on a mage, keep up the pressure, keep dots up at all times, otherwise you're just never going to get damaged out if they're slowing you into the ground. Keep your Soul Reaper up on them really early if you can, because they will get down to kill range pretty fast. You'll notice there, when you Death Grip, they will blink, Death Grip again, then stun them. Never Death Grip and just hope they're going to. Even if they don't blink away, just do it again. Alright, against a Monk and a Feral, you're going to want IBF, and I also kept my Tenacity Trinket on because Disarm and Cyclone are two things you don't really want to have happen to you for 8 seconds. One thing to remember about a Monk is if they use Touch of Karma on your mage, he could actually block it off. Same thing with like a Paladin. So keep that in mind. That's why we start on the Feral when we can. I see that the mage gets the Feral out, so I'm just going to run around here and stun him. As soon as he's stunned, I pop my cooldowns, I get on him. I actually Fester twice because I don't really care about dispelling him at this point. The only reason I AMS was just to make sure there was no NS clone or anything like that. On a Druid, you really need to keep them kind of under control. They heal a lot. You don't want them to use Heart of the Wild, so it's really nice to be able to just Blood Elf silence them really quick while they're running around a pillar. The mage is also pumping damage into him. He's got my Gargoyle on him. I mean, he's going down fast. Make sure that Soul Reaper's up. It actually wasn't on him right there, but you get the idea. On a Monk, you have to remember Zuin and Touch of Karma's Dot are both magical effects. AMS won't protect you from Touch of Karma being applied to you, but it will protect you from the damage that you take, as well as from Zuin, so you kind of want to keep that in mind. You don't want to take extra damage. Mine's on cooldown right now, but if it was, I'd obviously be doing it. Monks can dispel themselves, so you want to make sure that you're watching your dots. I don't typically spec, against a DPS, I won't spec Endearing Infection, but there are some times where you might want to. I mean, it's up to you. I just think it's not really worth it because it takes one rune to put it back on a DPS, and DPSs are typically too busy to really dispel themselves. We go against Warrior Paladin here. I keep my Trinket on because a Warrior disarming you can really hurt your burst, and I put Endearing Infection on because the Paladins usually dispel your dots. In this case, we're just going to Mongo that Warrior. It's really Mongoloid, I know it is, but it's really nice to be able to get him down fast. Apply 2 Festerings, get your runes building fast. You see that Reflect right there, you Death Grip that, doesn't really matter for you. You can see the Paladins right here, I silence them both. When you silence a Warrior, you can't activate Rallying Cry and stuff, and you know, it was so quick that the Paladin doesn't have much time to react. A Chamois is like a Druid, he cannot dispel your dots, so we decide to just go for him. I keep my Trinket on because, you know, disarm, stuff like that, Hex. You'll see I actually stun that, I stun the Warrior as soon as he leaped after my Mage. We go right on here, I pop my cooldowns, keep your dots up. You're going to see me empower right here because I'm just trying my best to apply all the, not right here, but I'm just doing my best to apply all the necrotics I can. One thing about a Shaman is they will a lot of times just pop back to full health, and that really sucks, but you just have to keep them under control. You'll see right there that Mind Freeze just went off, and, you know, the Chamois just kind of screwed at that point. And here it's a 2v1. Make sure against, see right here, I just Trinket that. Make sure against Warriors you keep in mind, silence them out of Rallying Cry if you can. If they activate Die by the Sword and they're in a stun, they can't parry you if they're stunned, so keep that kind of stuff in mind. And that was the last game. A few things, I said empower once, but I actually empowered more than once. I didn't really pay attention when I was doing it, but you need to make sure it's a spur of the moment decision. You need to make sure you're doing it when you need to do it. If you're going for a kill, if you need necrotics up right now, then Empower is probably a good choice. It's nice to use Empower in the opener especially. You get 4 Death Runes and 2 Unholy. You can spam those necrotics pretty hard. So in the next couple days, I'll do some duels to kind of give you some commentary on 1v1s, because you never know. There are times when you're going to have to 1v1 in Arena, and it could really help you to know how to defeat every class. Not every class, but at least a couple of them that are going to give you some trouble. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to say again, you can subscribe if you like our content. You can visit our channel to check out our site, Facebook, and Twitter. And I hope to see you guys back for the next part.